Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
The earth is in the process of transformation. A separation, such as when a cell divides. Half will remain in the third dimension, the old earth, where there is conflict and violence. The other half will ascend to the fifth dimension, the new earth, where no negativity can exist. All across the world, there are internet content creators that are sharing new information to raise your consciousness and prepare you to ascend to the new earth. Join me, Naima Latif, every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Time, and we will introduce to you these voices of enlightenment. Grand Rising, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Voices of Enlightenment. I'm Naima Latif, and you may have seen the new Michael Jackson movie. And if you have not, I will certainly not be a spoiler for you. But I do want to present a different perspective. And today on Voices of Enlightenment, we're going to take a look at the war that's going on in front of your face, behind your back. Sound wars. And the artists who are either producing sound for the light or they're producing sound for the dark. Those which are intending to open your mind, inspire you to love and peace, and those who are making you angry and want to fight. And you don't feel good. You feel fear. You feel distress. All with the power of sound, because sound is energy. And those who are artists, inspired to create, what is their creation creating in you? We're going to talk about that today as we analyze the things that were revealed, without me being a spoiler, revealed in the new Michael Jackson movie. And we'll also take a look at many of the artists over time who have been preparing us for this very special time. But first, let's greet our global family joining us from all over the world. And we'll be right back. So stay with us.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa Sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Paleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom.
In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we want to talk to you, and we want you to talk to us too. I'm Naima Latif, and you are watching Voices of Enlightenment. Well, we wanted to take a look at the Michael Jackson movie, but so much more, because there is a war happening right in front of our faces, and you're being sucked into tapping into things that lower your frequency. First of all, everyone on the planet is emitting a frequency. You have a unique energy signal that's just you, no one else. And you're sending out waves of energy to the universe every moment of every day. So when we take a look at someone who has had a major impact on the planet, such as a Michael Jackson, there were so many things that were revealed during his lifetime about the music industry, the battles for power, and those who wished to topple him because he had become so powerful. We learned the power of control of your own creations. We learned about the money that's being made by so many artists that have gone before and perhaps didn't have control of their music, the copyrights. And we learn that there are so many artists during that time period, young people, just like now, young people who are controlled by big music executives. But when someone learns the game, they become a threat, because it's all about control. And once you control sound, you control thought. So this is why not only is the life of Michael Jackson significant, but the power behind who controls the music industry. And not only who controls the music industry, but what is the ultimate agenda? It's more than just entertainment. It's actually more than just the sounds of music. Music is energy, and music projects a certain frequency of sound. And those sound waves, they affect your body, they affect your cells in your body, they affect your thoughts, they affect your moods. That's why you can have nice mood music that relaxes you. And then you can also have music that gets you all disturbed and upset and angry and fired up and wanting to do something. And you don't know. It's the energy and the sound that's affecting your mood. But also there's lyrics. What are the songs saying to you? And what are they encouraging you to do or think? So these things, once they are controlled by people with a political agenda, it can be very dangerous. And this is why certain songs were played during an era in which there was an awakening back in the 60s. And we'll take a look at some of those songs. Can't play too much of it because we don't want to violate any copyrights. We'll make sure we state that we don't own the copyrights. This is for education purposes only. But there's a reason that certain songs were being played during certain times in our political evolution. Because during the time of the 1960s, we were going through a revolution in America. It didn't just start in 1968. That's when I became aware of it. I was 8 years old at the time. But it was brewing decades before. The conflict, the racial conflict, the conflict between control of those powers that shouldn't be, as my friend Caroline Jane says. But those people who wanted to continue to control economically, politically, socially, they were being pushed aside by a new generation that was awakening and expressing the wrongs through the music. So certain groups came to represent a certain sound, and they were very popular in many of the mass concerts. There was the free love movement, which it really was, even in the hippie culture, it was a way to rebel against the establishment. During the time that this nation was pushing for war in Vietnam, and there were those who were fighting against it, using their music to awaken young people to the fact that this was wrong, and they were refusing to go. Well, that's really powerful when you have young people that are refusing to go to war. You can't have a war if you don't have young people who agree to go. And this is why the power of sound was so critical. Whenever there's a political agenda, there is a cooperation, a coordination of the entertainment industries with the political industries to push a thought, a theme, and to get people to agree to an idea. So artists are critical to that system of control. So there were certain songs back in that time that were very much popular and were heralding this time period. There was a song by The Fifth Dimension, and if you were of a certain age, you may not have heard of them, but The Fifth Dimension, they were an African-American group, 3 men, 2 women, and this group had an impact on the culture with their music, as did many who were popular during that time. If they had so-called crossover appeal, meaning appealing to whites and blacks, they were going to also have a certain power, influence. And being influential in the music industry is a major thing because you can influence behavior based on what you sing about. So when an artist such as a Michael Jackson sings songs, this can create a movement. And this is what was happening in the 60s with groups like the Fifth Dimension, who sang a song called "This is the Dawning of the Age of Aquarius." And this particular song had very powerful implications because they were speaking of the age in which we are now and how we are ascending to a new consciousness, which is going to change planet Earth. And this song, that was most certainly an inspiration, was also a prediction. And the sound of it changed hearts and influenced minds and was part of the anti-war movement that was going to change the politics of not only this nation, but the world. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about sound frequencies, lyrics, songs, and how you may be impacted by the music you choose to listen to. And what are the words inspiring you to do or not do? Music isn't just entertainment, it's quite a powerful political force. So, what are you being influenced to do with the artists that you listen to? We'll be right back after this break. So we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
In which we're doing this documentary for Douglas Robinson, Your Death Will Not Be in Vain.
He was a heck of a great dude.
And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page, as we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force. Our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
Yes, we are ascending. Yes, we are. And this is what's so powerful about the times in which we live. We are ascending into a new level of consciousness in which we are becoming aware. And we are also changing the structures that have held us captive for so many decades, centuries even. We are emerging into what's known as the fifth dimension, coming out of the third dimension. And this is what was significant about this group, the fifth dimension. And the music that they produced, like many artists during that time, the music had messages that were designed to enlighten. And this group, that very wholesome looking group of men and women, matter of fact, there was a married couple in the group, very wholesome sound, but they produced a song that had lyrics, and we'll let you hear just a bit of it in a moment. But so many songs in that era, so many in that era, messages that were meant to change your mind. There was the Beatles, a song called All You Need Is Love. And it was more than just a song about couples. It was songs about humanity during a time when there was a war effort. All you need is love. Love is all you need. And they had many such songs that were reiterating an anti-war theme. And as you know, Michael Jackson wanted to buy the Beatles catalog, and he did. Control of their songs, the power to use the music and lyrics. It wasn't just a financial decision. It was a very powerful decision in terms of controlling sound that was going to have an impact if heard again. And there were songs that so many artists put forth. There were groups that changed the energy. Groups like Earth, Wind, and Fire, also very high conscious people. And the words to their songs, That's the Way of the World. There's a sound in the music that makes you feel a certain way. Relaxed, calm, inspired. When Michael Jackson realized the power of his celebrity status, but also what he chose to sing about, he had a major impact, first in California with the war between the Crips and the Bloods, street gangs. And without telling the movie, the ability to gather warring factions under the banner of music was such a powerful political statement. And then, of course, many of the other things that he did when he and Quincy Jones got together, all the musicians, and did the We Are the World music song, which was intending to raise money for those who were in distress. So the political power of a musician is felt when that musician has political consciousness. When they don't have consciousness, they can be manipulated and encouraged to produce sounds and lyrics that destroy, that self-destruct, and destroy an entire generation. So this is the battle going on in front of your face, behind your back. The battle for control over the sounds and images that we see, because they will influence behavior. Now, there is a presentation given on an album. For those of y'all who don't remember, an album, this big vinyl thing. And this album was recorded by Minister Louis Farrakhan when he and Reverend Jesse Jackson went abroad on a peace mission. And it was a very powerful presentation because the album was called Let Us Unite. And the songs, the sounds, the message are very powerful. And during this time, of course, Reverend Jackson ended up running for president twice. And the unity between those two was so dynamic. And those of us who saw it were quite influenced because for decades, the African American community had been easily manipulated and divided according to religion. There was the Christian-led civil rights movement, and there was the Muslim-influenced Black Power movement. So all were fighting for an end to the oppressive system based on race in America. But if the forces remained divided, they would be weakened. So the coming together of these two great men was definitely a political threat. Now, in a speech that Minister Farrakhan gave, he said that he was he had visited an artist, Brock Peters, actor. And during that time, he said he spoke to one of the Hollywood producers who broke it down to him, said, we look at the world and we decide how we want it to go. And he said, we get with our writers and our artists, and we describe how we want the world to go so that they will create music, movies, art in a way that programs the people. So it was clear that when there is a desire for war, then we'll see a lot of war hero movies. And when they want people to be distracted with the internal decadence of themselves, then they'll produce a lot of those kinds of movies, you know, drug addictions. We had Superfly. We had a very deliberate steering away of the minds of young people toward empowerment and into the glamour of drugs and sex and violence. It was very deliberate. So those who are in the entertainment industry plan how they want our entertainment to reflect a thought and influence behavior. And we who are blind and deaf, can't see, can't hear how we're being manipulated, we follow along. But every now and then, when you have an artist that is enlightened, such as a Michael Jackson, that artist will begin to influence politics with their sound. And he brought two warring gang members together through dance, music, very powerful political influence. Because the prison industry is, in fact, big business. And as long as there are gang wars, there is a profitable prison industry. And all of the subsequent destructive behaviors that come with that, and all the people who get paid as a result of that, are enriched by it. So these things are critical for our understanding so that we are not duped into following sounds that destroy us. Because the intention is self-destruction. And so there was a movement toward rap. And you think about those who were putting out very powerful lyrics, a Queen Latifah, and so many others that were putting forth lyrics that were demanding respect for women and our culture. What happens when sounds that were empowering get subverted to sounds that glorify drug use and gang affiliation and general ignorance in behavior, fighting, mindless sex, diversions to keep us from becoming politically empowered? So we'll talk about more when we come back. And we'll give you an opportunity to chime in, to give us a call, 727-731-5192, because we want to hear from you and get your thoughts. How conscious are you when it comes to the entertainment industry? Are you being manipulated because you're not paying attention to how certain sounds are making you feel and certain images? What are they making you think and react? We'll be right back after this quick break, so we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. When you see Black children misbehaving in public, being loud, disrespectful, and destructive, do you think to yourself, what they need is a good beating? That's what's wrong with these parents. They don't know how to discipline their children. Were you disciplined in that way? And did your parents also call you stupid, ignorant, and lazy? That's the way you break a slave. You terrorize them with constant fear of painful punishment. You teach them they're powerless to speak up, and you insult them so they feel like nothing. We were broken by parents who were broken, by parents who were broken. It's time to end the cycle of brokenness and bring healing to ourselves and our communities by using knowledge, respect, and love. We'll show you how. I'm Naima Latif. Get the book Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma. On sale now. Go to www.naimalatif.com. We are back. You are listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Broadcast, and this is Voices of Enlightenment. And today we want to bring you a voice of enlightenment that was a very powerful force in the enlightening of not just his generation, but also future generations with the ongoing expression of his life in this movie, the movie Michael, played by his nephew, Jafar. And I must say that as I watched the movie, I was not seeing acting, I was seeing channeling. He was literally receiving the energy from the spirit of Michael Jackson and manifested it so powerfully on the screen. I don't think there's anybody that could have played that role as well, because certainly he was close enough to the family to understand the dynamics. Now, there are different people who had different opinions and even maybe different family members, but the most important thing about this film is that it showed the heart of a man who used his celebrity status to impact the world in other ways. Now, there are those who take their money and they buy things that make other young people want to buy a certain kind of car or wear certain kind of clothes. But you could see the charitable acts that went a lot deeper. There are so many entertainers that are oblivious to the suffering of others because their desire is simply to be admired, where this is a man who very private in his private life, at the same time affected the public in such an awesome way. And his story, as it was told, I believe, will be an inspiration as opposed to it being an exploitation for those who hoped to topple him as the king of pop and besmirch his reputation. What I saw, and I'm glad that the family made the decisions they made. If you haven't seen the movie, go see it. Go see it. Because we need to understand what happens when a person uses their power in such a way that influences thoughts and feelings of those who are suffering. We need to see it so that other entertainers can also be inspired. But also, other entertainers need to recognize their power to make an impact with the sounds that they choose to put forth. Because sound is power. And in watching Jafar channel this entertainment genius, whether it was his songs, his lyrics, his music, his dance, while battling some very powerful negative things happening in his life, he most certainly made a statement with his life. But let's take a look at something that many of us are unaware of when it comes to the power of sound. What kind of music do you listen to? Now, everybody has their music preference, but every sound is energy, and every sound has a frequency that affects you. So if you are aware of the power of a sound frequency, then you will be conscious of how that sound frequency affects you. High frequencies will have a positive effect on you, not only emotionally, but even physically. So if you're not aware of what you're listening to, then you're not going to understand how it's affecting you. And you might be listening to a song that's literally making you sick. Got some comments here. And let's take a look. Oh, yes. My sister Zelda says MJ was on another level in the experience called life. He showed us another way of being human. Goodwill to all humans is only one of the legacies that he left us. That is so true. He left us a legacy. And that's why this movie is important, because it defines his legacy. And for those who were perhaps younger when he came of age, or when he came to prominence, or even missed his whole life, they will be able to see it and recognize the impact. And then she also says that sounds we allow into our heads is the type of behavior we exhibit during the day. Negative news intake daily, negative out in our experiences. Yes, that is the point. If you are ingesting negative news, if you're turning on your TV, if you're tuning into your computer, if you're watching it on your cell phone, all the bad things that are happening, you will get depressed, sad, and fearful. Fear is a very low frequency. Shame is one of the lowest frequencies. And when you are of a low frequency, you are susceptible to physical diseases. Sound can impact your physical body. So we're going to let you listen to a couple of frequencies. And then you'll be able to reflect how you may feel. Because these frequencies do, in fact, create a specific feeling. Sound is energy. And we want you to hear this frequency and see how you feel after a few seconds of this frequency. Now, it is very low frequency, as you can see, 60 hertz, 40 hertz, 20 hertz, 10 hertz, very low frequency. So when music is created, it's determined what frequency the sound is going to be played. So that you can decide if this is something you want to keep listening to. Very low frequency. Now, of course, there are frequencies that popular music is played by, and it's not volume, it's a certain energy frequency. So we're going to let you listen to another frequency. And this one is of a higher frequency. And think about how the sound you just heard made you feel. Kind of almost like an agitation, a grating on your nerves, that sound. So it wasn't necessarily something pleasant. And you have to think about how sounds make you feel, especially if it's something that is irritating to you. And how it may impact your mood. When you get up in the morning and you listen to certain sounds, how are they impacting your mood? The songs that you're hearing, how are they impacting your mood for the day? And are you hearing sounds that make you want to go out and cuss somebody out? So if you are not aware that the sounds you might be listening to early in the morning are having an impact, you'll turn on something and be upset all day. But listen to this. 548 hertz, 4 hertz, full body relaxation. These are high So when there is a movie soundtrack, it is a deliberate decision what sound is going to be the image and the impact. Low frequency sounds that are behind the images of movies that are designed to upset you are doing so, and it's totally subversive. Movies that feel a certain kind of pleasure behind images, movies that are so how and how do you feel when you are listening to low frequency sound? So when an artist is aware and conscious and they're inspired to create, they have the power to use the sounds behind the lyrics to create a vibration that either elevates you or brings you down. This was the power of groups like Earth, Wind, and Fire, who knew the science of sound. And so even their title, Earth, Wind, and Fire, they understood the elements, they understood nature, and they were raising our consciousness with their sounds. So when they had a concert, you didn't hear about people breaking out in fights and pulling out guns and shooting at an Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. Nor did you hear those kinds of things at a Stevie Wonder concert. There are artists among us who are very high spiritually aware artists, and their music had the ability to raise our consciousness. Those artists where you see fights break out at their concerts, disturbances, drug use, to the point where people are erratic in their behavior and dangerous. The frequency in the music, coupled with lyrics that might provoke anger or fear. These are very deliberately done for control. We'll take our last break, and when we come back, we'll talk about control of our artistic expressions and deliberate creations that can change the minds of those who are now in distress, our young people who are being manipulated by those who control the artists, who influence them. How do we awaken them to their own power and raise their consciousness for their own good? We'll be right back after this last break. We want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. I'm Naima Latif, and you are watching Voices of Enlightenment. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Great day. It's your girl Asada here to introduce a new female solution show called Asada Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way Asada says it should be done. See you then. Peace, right here on the Female Solution.
We are back, and you are watching the Female Solution Global Broadcast. And I am Naima Latif, and this is Voices of Enlightenment. We wanted to feature those who are enlightened, aware, and helping to awaken the planet with their works and using the very powerful tool of the internet to spread knowledge. Because there's a war going on between the light and the dark right in front of our faces. And those who are unaware are being influenced by the forces of darkness. Darkness simply meaning ignorance. When you're easily manipulated to self-destruct. And when you are easily manipulated to self-destruct, you keep those in power, those who wish to control the earth's resources, those who wish to gain what they believe is wealth. You empower them through following where they lead you to your own self-destruction, because you are unaware. So those who are awakening awareness are very powerful voices. And there are many in the music industry that are awakening the planet. And one such very powerful artist, today we are taking a look at Michael Jackson, the movie. And here he is portrayed by Jafar Jackson. Very powerful performance. And this event, this movie event, has the power to awaken today's youth if they understand the subtle messages in the movie. Because even though it was an opportunity to experience his artistry and his creativity, it was also an opportunity for us to witness his genius and being able to use his power to influence a world and help to bring peace. And that's what the Voices of Enlightenment do. So we want you to be conscious of what you listen to. And I'm going to tell you to listen to the words. Just type in on YouTube, The Fifth Dimension, Aquarius, that song, and listen to it. Just listen to it. Because they are predicting what is happening now, the transformation of Earth as humanity awakens. This group is telling us what we're experiencing right now. And there are many artists who are awakening the planet with their sounds, their words, even their dance, which brings people together in a spirit of love. Watch them. Listen to them. They are the revolutionaries of our time. I'm Naima Latif. Thank you for joining us today. Come on back tonight for the On-Air Daily News Hour. We'll give you some news you can use to raise your awareness so that you can also become a force for the light. We'll see you next time.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.